Ephesians chapter 2, and we're thinking about verse 14, and I just want to think about just one part of that verse because there's a whole passage that follows on from it, and it begins really to explain how we know God's peace in our lives. And it's just the verse simply says, he himself, that's Jesus, he himself is our peace. That links with it links with the previous sentence because I didn't read the first word. It says, for he himself is our peace. And the previous sentence is about how we were excluded and have been brought near and the blood of Christ. And then he says, well, for he is our peace. So there's a link between the two, and it explains further what that sentence means. So I think firstly what it indicates is that finding peace and being brought near to God are linked. When people talk about their aims, they are always involved around finding happiness, fulfillment, peace, if you like. And those aren't wrong in themselves, of course, but very often the methods we're told to find them by the society around us they don't involve God. I think they're crudest. The advertising companies will tell you, buy our product and you'll find happiness. That's what all the pictures suggest. Or get yourself a fat wage packet and you can buy our products. That's a bit crude, but often it will revolve around me. You find peace in yourself by looking inwards. You find peace by uniting with somebody else. The problem with our society's views on finding peace and happiness and joy is that they don't take into account the fact that we start off being alienated from God, from the God who made us for himself, so that we might find happiness in him and fulfillment in him. And we're cut off from him, so it's no surprise that we're filled with angst when these things don't actually quite deliver. Paul connects peace with being reconciled with God. This isn't the only place he would talk about that. You can look in Romans chapter 5, where it says, since we are justified by faith, we have peace with God. But he's actually more specific than merely saying you need to get some connection with God. He's talking about Jesus being the one that we need. As he says, he himself, Jesus, is our peace. He is the peace itself. And we know that he's talking about the death of Jesus, that it's the sacrifice of Jesus on the cross, bringing peace, because he's the one who takes our sins that would have otherwise have separated us from him, pays their penalty, and then assures us that we are accepted by God and we are at peace with him. We have peace with God, and we can draw near. Now, I remember a man that I used to know who told me that he never received any affection from his parents. They never showed him any. I think he said to me that he didn't ever remember receiving a hug from his parents. Now, psychologists will tell you the damage that causes, that sort of thing causes, and that people spend their whole lives trying to find that love. Perhaps they spend wildly thinking that these things that will bring them the love they didn't have. Perhaps they're unable to hold down any relationships because they flip from one to another, not really understanding people themselves. They can spend their whole lives doing that. Telling them, for instance, they need to love themselves more isn't going to help them. What they need to know is that they are loved, that they are accepted, that they are at peace because actually someone greater who understands them perfectly has loved them and loves them. And that's exactly what we get in Jesus. He himself is our peace. Not the church, not the amount you read the Bible, not your fellow Christian friends, not the gifts he gives you, not the abilities that you have to serve him, not your service for him. Those things in themselves don't bring you peace. You might enjoy them, they might be a blessing to you, but it's him, it's Jesus. He himself is our peace. This is the gospel, the heart of the gospel. This is the good news of the gospel, that Jesus is our peace. He makes peace and he brings it. Later on in the chapter, he's going to be talking about how he brings that peace between enemies. But just think of it on a personal level. He himself is our peace. You're not going to find it anywhere else. At Christmas, we celebrate Jesus being the Prince of Peace. At Easter, we remember that he died to bring peace, to make peace. It all revolves around him and knowing him more deeply. So your resolution needs to be to know him, because he himself is the source of peace that you need. Well, I pray that you may find that in greater fullness. And know his blessing this weekend. On Sunday, we have our regular 11 o'clock service for Salway. And so on Monday, we'll come back to this passage in Ephesians chapter 2, and I'll see you then.